A good life is like a good smoothie. It's got a lot of ingredients mixed in and blended together. If you have only one ingredient in your smoothie in your life, it's not going to be very good. But also, if you have a lot of ingredients but they're not blended together, it's not very good either. So the key is having multiple things and being able to mix them in, being able to relate them. It's a concept that I've been thinking about that makes a lot of sense when you look at some of the more successful people with the cooler lives and what they're doing, and unsuccessful people who don't have a lot of ingredients or aren't blending them. So welcome in, much love, Trav here. I'm in Humboldt and the sun finally came out. Wow, haven't seen the sun actually in 5-6 days, and it's May. It's supposed to be spring, right? But that's the way it is, and that's something about this place. That's one of the reasons why not a lot of people live here, because a lot of people can't handle that all the time. You know, I lived a lot in Seattle, and the winters are very, very, very long. But they always end, and you just gotta hang on. For those of you who are hanging on, always the spring will come, the sun will come out, the summer will come. Also, repping my TEDx, go check out my most recent TED Talk if you haven't, on going downstairs. Anyways, topic of the video, much love, want to help you. Yeah, let's do this. So let's look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, for example. He's had his flaws, but for the most part we can say he's a guy who's achieved all his dreams, just about, and they're different, and he mixed them all together. He was a bodybuilder, and he mixed that with construction work to start his first entrepreneurial business. And he mixed construction with real estate, and then marketing, and then he mixed bodybuilding with acting, and then he mixed acting with government politics, and he mixed politics with his purpose and making a difference. Here's a guy who's done a lot of things, right? He mixes his experience of being in the army as a tank driver with acting it out in Conan and shit like that. There's an example of someone who took a bunch of stuff and mixed it together. And there's a lot of examples of this. If you look at everyone's favorite, love him or hate him, Tai Lopez. Here's a guy who's mixed a lot of stuff in his life. Mixed his experience working on farms, with working in nightclubs, with doing online business, with social psychology, mixing all these books he's read. And if he just did one thing, and he says he is eclectic on purpose, if you just do one thing, I think it's a myth to say you can do just one thing and succeed. Gary Vaynerchuk will say, like, you know, disregard your weakness, double down on your strengths. Well, I mean, here's a guy mixing entrepreneurism with wine, and then mixing that with social media, mixing social media with wine, with being a fan of sports, with hustling. You know, he's not, even the narrow guy is really not that narrow. He's mixing a lot of stuff together. And here's where it gets interesting, because when you mix things together, and when things mix, most of the action happens on the edge, right? On the Venn diagram where there's a little overlap. And actually, in real life, they call this the edge effect. When you have a meeting of different geological zones, most of the life congregates around the edge. For instance, if you have where the ocean meets the forest, you're going to have a lot more life than the center of the forest and the center of the ocean, right? I mean, this is a perfect example of the marsh, where you hear all this life, you see all these birds, hundreds of bird species, over 100,000 birds pass through here. This is the edge effect in action right now, of different ingredients being mixed together. You got standing water, you got moving water, you got fresh water, you got forest, you got birds, you got trees, and the result is you have all this life here. And that's what we want to do, is the edge effect, take advantage of the edge effect in our life, in our smoothie of life. So, for example, for me, and we'll do me, and you can think about yourself and share for yourself. You want a good life, a life of purpose, a life that's helpful, and a life that's entertaining and fun as well. So for me, when I think about what my specialty is and what I have to offer, yeah, I play competitive games, but that's not really what it's about necessarily. I'm into mental training, right, and mental competition. And I mix that with physical training and physical competition. And I mix that with studying the body. And I mix that with studying the mind. I mix that with studying how society works. I mix that with motivation, bring motivation back to competition and try to win. And bring, I'll mix wrestling with Magic the Gathering. Mix basketball with Magic, right? The action's happening on the edge. Mix online business with all this stuff, entrepreneurship, mix social media with all this. Mix all the books that I read and mix them together, right? I'm mixing today surfing and surfing with, what am I mixing surfing with? Well, the idea is just to put all this shit in the blender and hit blend and then take it out and drink it, right? Because if it's just all these things stay in their own place and stay separate and stay all compartmentalized, then I'm not gonna get nearly as much out, I wanna be able to learn one thing about sales, apply it to what I'm doing with competitive gaming. And then I wanna apply what I'm learning with competitive gaming with what I'm doing for physical training, and what I'm doing for physical training, combine that with the books that I'm reading. It doesn't need to be a million ingredients, but it should be enough fun ingredients that have enough crossover between them that you can mix them together, right? Like, you can mix all sorts of stuff. You can mix music with sports. You can mix sports with religion, music with religion, religion with groups, organizations, community with coaching and teaching, what is it? But it doesn't have to be one thing, and that's the great thing, because even the guy in our day and age who says, like, focus on double down on being really good at one thing, even he's doing multiple things and combining them nicely. So for you, question is, what are you doing what are a bunch of things that you're doing? What's in your blender that you're mixing, and how are they mixing? Simple. I'm mixing self-development with competitive gaming. I'm mixing all this stuff, and it makes my smoothie a lot richer, and it makes it a lot better. Quality of ingredients are good too. So what's in your smoothie? Leave a comment down below, and then hit the fucking blend button. And also think about how certain things benefit other things. How the one thing you're doing benefits the other thing. Like for me, I know that I went over it, but think about how the 2, 3, 4, 5 things that you're doing, what's the crossover between each, and look for life on the edge, because that's where the shit really happens. Again, we're here right now, and you can hear the birds, you can see it, so that's the edge effect. Hope you find that useful. Sun finally came out. I knew it would eventually. Pretty stoked on that. So that's it's a beautiful day, and I hope you find that useful. I'd love to hear you share down below how that goes. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. Everything's going to be great. Things are going to work out great. And I'm excited to see what you have to say in the comments below. The smoothie of life. Hit blend. Boom. It's a funny concept, but I think it works real well. So, yeah, take a bunch of ingredients. Also, like, you have to keep trying out new ingredients, trying out new things. Take the same smoothie every day and it gets boring, but you find a new ingredient that works great and you can mix it in, and that'll be good too, because we need variety to stay excited about things. So let me know what you think. Again, what's in your smoothie? How are you mixing it? How does it combine? What's happening around the edge? Leave that comment. What's in your smoothie of life? And I'll see you in the comments below. And we'll talk soon. I'll see you in the next vid. So much love and keep going. You got it.